Hey folks, yesterday I was on a conference call with two manufacturing leaders talking about their adaptation of Power BI. Power BI is a Microsoft project, and BI stands for Business Intelligence. Basically, it's a very versatile software package that can model based on a lot of inputs, attached to machines, attached to the accounting system, the shop floor system, shift reports, equipment speeds, equipment scrap rates, all those kind of data sources that are out there in electronic format, vibration data, and put it all together, and they can manipulate it, do calculations, can model it, and typically it is converted into a dashboard that you can see on your PC or phone. That dashboard, the ones I've seen, typically they're color-coded red, yellow, and green, with red meaning, hey, there's a concern here, a significant issue. Yellow means, hey, caution. And red means everything's running fine. So at a quick glance, you can see where the problems are in your manufacturing facility. Pretty cool. Is this a great tool? Enabling business leaders to make great decisions? What's your thoughts on this, Joe? Hey, this is Joe Kuhn of Lean-Driven Reliability, bridging the gap between best practices that you should be doing at your plant, but just can't figure out how to get it done, given the chaos, given the reactive maintenance, given all the other priorities, just can't quite get there where the textbook says you should be, and maybe Joe can help you out a little bit. So is Power BI a game changer for management? My answer is no. It's a good tool, yes, but not a game changer. This video, I'm going to focus just on R&M. So there's other benefits of Power BI. I'm not going to talk about them. Let's talk about R&M. Pros. I've got one great pro. It's a great high-level look at the asset health, how equipment is running, uptime, OEE, vibration, very great snapshot. Are you current on PMs? Current on rebuilds, all those kind of things. You can program them in there and just get an overall equipment health of 1,000 assets and see which ones are red, yellow, and green. Just fantastic. Cons, and I got a long list of cons, in particular because I've been burned on these things a few times. All these come with battle scars, right? Tells you nothing about the completeness of the PMs. So you can be green and say we're current on PMs, but that doesn't mean you did the PMs with precision. That does not mean you did the complete PM. If a PM is a weekly PM and this week you only got 20% of it done because production only gave you an hour instead of 8 hours, you mark that complete and you move on. So it really gives you a false sense of security there. It tells you nothing about it. Another major one is these metrics can be very easily manipulated. I mentioned close out a PM when it's only 20% complete. You can create a rule. I've seen this before. You created a rule where any unplanned downtime over 8 hours is automatically converted to planned downtime because you could have put a Band-Aid or a quick fix on there and restored flow in 90 minutes, but you decided to do a permanent fix, which is a decision, and you planned that. Doesn't fit the definition of planned on next week's schedule, but you planned on making this repair at some time in the future. You had the parts available, so you chose to take it down. So artificially, you're manipulating the unplanned downtime number by calling things planned that aren't really planned. You can easily manage the numbers by calling your standbys. You have an emergency crew or standby crew that's there to take reactive maintenance calls. You can give them interruptible work that may take 1 hour, may take 2 hours. Just call the whole shift planned work. Just call the whole shift planned work, and that greatly inflates the amount your planned work percentage and turns it green. You can use your PDM resources that are supposed to be doing predictive work and problem-solving work. You can have them respond to emergency calls in addition to their work. And at the end of the week, you call all 40 hours planned work. These are easy things to do, folks. And I'm picking out on some more blatant ones. I'm telling you, Very easy to manipulate these numbers. You can also manipulate the triggers for red, yellow, and green. You can make the green trigger extremely wide, yellow medium wide, and red you really have to be bad to be red. So you can just manipulate the trigger points to change the colors. Also, a con of these systems, Power BI, is they tell you nothing about root cause. They just basically say it's bad. It's like the oil light coming on in your car. Doesn't say anything about how bad it is. Doesn't it say anything about what to do? You just got an oil light on. Is there something wrong with the oil light? Is there something wrong with the sensor? Did the sensor come off? Who knows? You know, it tells you nothing about how long any downtime, say you're tracking unplanned downtime as one of your metrics, how long it should have been. You know, did you have enough resources there? Did you have the right parts there? Was the downtime caused by production? You just don't know. All you know is bad. It's good, bad, perhaps bad. That's all you know from the three colors. A major one, this is big, is fear of embarrassment and fear of failure taints the credibility of shift reports. Some of these Power BI systems bring in comments from the shift, like say there was 8 hours of downtime, and you know, on number 5 rolling mill, just to use an example, 8 hours of downtime. So it's unplanned downtime. Well, that looks like a negative towards the maintenance crew and the reliability of that asset, okay? But in reality, you find out they were using this roll change vehicle and the operator smacked into something, used it wrong, operator error. That's caught, and it was damage. It's not really a reliability issue, it's a damage issue caused by production. Happens all the time, all the time. Also, the downtime should have only been an hour, but since we didn't have parts, that made it go, and that was a decision we made to cut our spare parts inventory. That was a decision. So it should have been an hour in years gone by, but it was 8 hours because we decided to take that risk. That was intentional. Also, you may have our standby crew or emergency crew was reduced from 4 people to 2 people because events like this only happen once a quarter, and we've decided to accept this risk. There's a lot going on inside these colors is what my point is. The last thing, and this is absolutely the worst thing associated with Power BI, absolute worst thing. Top leaders are sucked into, they're drawn into micromanagement and second guessing frontline leaders. And this is crippling to plants, crippling, okay? This is very serious, okay? VPs, vice presidents, presidents, 4 layers higher than the floor, and perhaps even in a different country, most of the time in a different city, they're telling the shop floor what actions to take, what I want you to do based on these colors. They use their opinion, they use their expertise and history to bark out these orders without firsthand observation, knowledge of what the reality is and what the history has been on that particular asset. This is huge, folks. This shuts down the leaders from taking any action. They're just going to wait to be directed because they don't want to be second-guessed and smacked around because they made a wrong choice. Fear of being wrong. There's no ownership, and it dramatically impacts the development of the leaders if you're micromanaging. I see this almost 100% of the time when they have Power BI in place, is top leaders. They put on their engineering hat, their job that they had, 10 years ago, and they say, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, trying to be the hero. And it is crippling the organization, and you're getting worse results. That's the number one issue with Power BI. Poor decisions being made without all the facts because you in top leadership think you know all the facts, and you don't. You clearly do not. Example from the 8 hours of downtime and the number 5 rolling mill I mentioned earlier. Come out and say, as president, I want 2 more emergency crew on shift, and you cannot go up any head count, but I want 2 more on shift. Okay, we put 2 more on shift, and we're better at responding to reactive maintenance. Okay, great. Well, guess what? Your planned maintenance just went down by 80 hours a week, so you're going to have more disasters, more events because your planned maintenance is going down. That That's a poor decision. Sometimes 8 hours of downtime is the best alternative because it only happens once a quarter, once every 6 months. We look at that here and now, urgent. We got to fix this from ever happening again. And when was the last time it happened? It may have been 5 years ago. Well, you got to make sure the solution's not worse than the disease, right? Okay. You also may decide to replace your maintenance manager because their downtime is too high. And what you find out is the downtime is over 50% of it is the result of operations. That's actually a good figure as a rule of thumb. 50% of downtime's operations. That's not too bad of a number, but most people don't know that because they don't spend enough time on the shop floor. Okay, hey, my message to plant managers and vice presidents associated with Power BI: hire great employees, coach, and let them do their jobs. Stay out of the day-to-day and week-to-week. Most people on the shop floor know the whole story. Let them use their information along with the Power BI information to take the great actions. Without intimate knowledge, you're making poor decisions. Intimate knowledge of current state. Expect a plan from your maintenance and production leaders that are at the plant. Expect a plan and give them an accountability to improve the trend of the data. Don't tell them what to do. Don't fall back to the job you had 20 years ago and think, oh, this is great. I used to be good at this job. Do this, do this, do this, and do this. You don't know the exact situation today, and here's another trap, folks. This is VPs and president and plant managers is I just made a suggestion. I suggest you do this. I suggest you do that. Guess what? When that comes from your level, the stripes on your shoulder, that's a directive, okay? That's a suggestion. That suggestion is a directive, is how it's received. Manage your ego, folks. This is a big deal. The number one issue is micromanagement is enabled, and you love it, okay? Maintenance and production managers, fight the temptation to manage the colors. This is very easy to do. The red, yellow, and green, extremely easy to do. I've mentioned a couple other examples in here. The one of them was, hey, we're going to call this planned downtime of 8 hours. Anytime a downtime is over 8 hours, it's going to be planned because we made a decision to make it planned. Extremely easy to do. We could have restored flow in an hour, but we chose to do a permanent fix. We'll pat ourselves in the back. We're going to call this planned job. We're not going to penalize us for doing the right thing. You're accountable for trends. You're accountable to make plans and implement. Ask your supervisor, your VP, plant manager, ask them for a contract that they are not going to get involved in the day-to-day, week-to-week decisions that are triggered off of the Power BI. Ask for that contract. Don't tell us what to do in a public setting, okay? In summary, Power BI is a good tool to point you in the direction of problems. Very good. When you're looking at hundreds of assets, thousands of assets, very good tool for pointing you in a direction. It does nothing for root cause and suggested actions to take. By far the biggest issue is the temptation of top leaders to micromanage. If you can eliminate just that last one, Power BI can be a great tool for you. But I've never seen it in place without micromanagement. 100% of the time, Power BI, micromanagement. And these VPs love it on their phone, and they call you up and says, why's the hot mill been down for 2 hours? I noticed it's been down. Well, there's a sign, VP. If you're looking at 2 hours of downtime on a piece of equipment, you're looking at the wrong stuff. You're supposed to be working on the strategic things that are 2, 3, 4, 10 years out, not 2, 3, 4, 10 hours out. Okay. Hey, folks, begin your journey. If I can help you out in any way, send me a text, email, comment to this video. I respond to 100% of them, and love to talk to you and help you on your journey. This is Joe out.